Okay, let's talk about an absolutely crazy game. This game was normal, and then it was very, very not normal. We won't get too much into ending in this video. This is a video talking about Jalen Hurts and his performance, although we will talk about the running game a little bit as well. I do have a video breaking down specifically to ending if you want to see that. Hurts didn't have a lot to do with it. So let's just talk about Hurts himself. How well did he play? To be honest, I did not think this was a great game from Jalen Hurts. He had some plays, and we'll talk about the key plays he made that allowed them to win this game, but you gotta feel like he might have to be a little bit sharper next week. But yeah, let's just get into it. Let's start off over here. No denying the Eagles were able to break off some long runs, which they were able to do the first time these two teams played, and you were kind of thinking, if you're an Eagles fan, they're going to have some in this game as well, right? Just to give you I don't want to say give you a chance, but that if they win, it's going to be because they can at least get some of these. First, this one on the opening drive. This part of this play is just the threat of Saquon Barkley, where they're going to fake as though it's a handoff to him. Hurts will then keep himself towards the bottom of the screen. And watch as when this play begins. Actually, a Rams defensive lineman does a pretty good job at reading this play. He had someone blocking him. It wasn't Jordan Mailata who's down the field looking for someone to block. It was someone else. But this, good play by a defensive lineman getting in position to tackle Hurts. But it's one thing to get in position to tackle Hurts. It's another thing to actually tackle him. As you see, Hurts is able to get around that tackle. He ultimately gets all the way into the end zone for a touchdown. So great play by Jalen Hurts. Great play by the Eagles offensive line. And also, it shows the effect of Saquon Barkley. Half the team was running in the direction of a guy who didn't have the ball. That also goes to show, what they can do. Also, this one, this is going to be actually Saquon Barkley on this play, just a handoff. But what's interesting is, so on the last play, I gave credit to Barkley on Hurts' run. So now let me give credit to Jalen Hurts on Saquon Barkley's rush. This is not a designed run. This is an audible here. Hurts liked what he sees, which is essentially what you can see right now, to have enough guys to block everybody at the defensive line except for the player closest towards the top of the screen. So, hey, let's just run the ball on a 3rd down and 4. Even if we get a yard short, we can always tush push. So it makes sense. Hurts hands the ball off. The audible call worked, so credit to Hurts for making the right decision. And now you're in this position where you have Saquon Barkley against a safety one-on-one right here. And this is just the issue with Saquon Barkley and I don't love this angle the safety takes, to be honest. Like, you have to take a little bit of a wider angle against Barkley. I know you want to make the tackle immediately. You got to make sure you at least make the tackle. As you see, he does not, and Barkley's going to take advantage. Barkley's going to go all the way. Right here, you see Jared Verse. Hey, I'll give Jared Verse credit. He's hustling, trying to make the play. Of course, Jared Verse had the talk earlier in this game, earlier in the week, where he said that he doesn't like Eagles fans, and then, of course, that creates some drama. So Eagles fans probably thrilled to see him not being able to get to Saquon Barkley on this play, although Verse would have some, plays of his own as well. Let's shift to A.J. Brown now. So, okay, you're getting the long runs that you wanted going into this, but then there's stuff like this, so A.J. Brown, dominant wide receiver. He is someone who, at his best, is borderline unguardable. Like, this is an example. It's a 3rd down and 3. He has a one-on-one matchup. And you're going to see Hurts does what he should do when you have A.J. Brown like that. Flips it to A.J. Brown. Easy completion. Again, at his best, it just feels easy. It feels like just handing the ball off. It's that simple. But it was not always that simple. So first, something like this, where it's going to be a 2nd down and 1 situation, and they're taking a deep shot, which kind of makes some sense, right? There's a minute 4 seconds left in the half. Let's fire one towards A.J. Brown, see if we can get 7 right here. If not, we always trust ourselves to get the tush push. Like, we're not concerned about picking up this 1st down. Let's take some shots here. Hurts is going to take the snap. He fires one down the field. As of right here, this is open. Again, A.J. Brown is a difficult player to cover one-on-one. This is something that looks like a scary situation if you're a Rams fan right here. But you're going to see, it looked like Kobe Durant, the corner, did get his hand in there, but A.J. Brown not able to make that grab. That's when he's usually able to make. And listen, it's tough conditions right there. It's not the easiest play in the world. But again, one that you usually expect him to make. The Eagles ultimately did not score on this possession. We'll get into why a little bit later on in this video, but yeah, that's a thing. But also heading over here, kind of tying in with A.J. Brown, I didn't love some of the decisions that Hurts was making in this game, especially early on. So you have this one where it's a 3rd down and 6. You have a couple of routes going, more over the middle. Zone blitz right here. Really, so A.J. Brown, the receiver closest towards the top of the screen, his route is a really good one against this coverage. Watch. Hurts takes the snap. You look over, and I mean, A.J. Brown's open. And again, to be clear, I'm not just using hindsight, because sometimes it happens where a quarterback's looking in the wrong direction and, like, someone's open on the other side of the field. What are you going to do? You can't see the whole field. You look at Hurts, though, he is looking in a different direction, and I don't really get why. I like A.J. Brown's route better in this situation, and it would have been open. If Hurts saw this, they would have made the throw, and they would have gotten the first down. Instead, Hurts just holds on to the ball and ultimately gets sacked. This was another issue we saw with Hurts was holding on to the ball a lot in this game, which is one of his issues. And part of it is he has a really good offensive line, so a lot of times he should hold on to the ball a little longer than your average player because he gets a little bit more extra time with this offensive line. But there still is a point when you have to get rid of the football. In fact, there were multiple points when he kind of knocked them out of field goal range. And listen, with Jake Elliott being, kind of up and down, right here would be around a 48, 49-yard field goal. Do you try it there in these conditions? I don't know, but I would assume Hurts is aware of what they would do in this situation. You see, though, when Hurts takes the snap, he's going to look down the field and, not a lot's open and there is pressure right here. You do have a check down, and really that's what you need to do is you need to flip it to your check down. Maybe it won't work, but it could gain you a few more yards, make it a field goal try. Maybe it gains you enough yards you can go for it, and who knows, maybe you break a tackle and get the first down. Instead, he holds onto the ball for just too long and ultimately gets sacked right there, and that is Jared Verse, the guy we were talking about earlier, making his presence felt. Again, the offensive line's good, but at a certain point, the defensive line still is going to get home. It wasn't always his fault, too. Like this is kind of just a blown assignment. There's going to be a blitz and just not picked up by the right guard, where watch what happens. Hurts takes a snap, pressure immediately. I couldn't tell if he failed to protect the ball or just he was trying to protect it and it still flipped out. Either way, though, big play as they ultimately were not able to try for the the field goal there when they potentially could have. So yeah, I mean those are big plays. And then you had this one which wasn't very good either. So it's a you have those three players for the Rams. This is what to watch. Those three are lined up on the line. So okay, they could be rushing the passer. The Eagles have the center, left guard, and left tackle paying attention to those three defensive players. Makes sense. But that's what the Rams are going to do, where the player lined up on the edge is going to drop back, and both the interior defensive linemen are going to shift more towards the bottom of the screen. It's not something you'll never see, but you don't see it too often. It's a pretty clever play call. And so watch that player, Neville Gallimore. He is a really depth interior defensive lineman, but watch what he's going to do. As you see, he kind of gets through so quickly, the center and guard didn't kind of fully know who they were supposed to block, and because of that, he gets behind them, and at this point, okay, if this was in the middle of the field, maybe you try to get away with a hold, hope it doesn't get called. You can't do that here, because if it doesn't get called, it's going to be a safety. You have to trust that Hurts is going to do the right thing here if you're the offensive line. What Hurts needs to do is get rid of this football. He has a check down open. Throw it there. If it's incomplete, it's incomplete. If you have to dirt it, you have to dirt it. You have to get rid of this football. Now, he just got banged up, and I think maybe he's more used to being able to get out of these pressures. But here, he really just kind of sits in the pocket and lets himself get sacked there. This is now the second safety he's had in the playoffs in his career. He had one last year as well. So, yeah, these are bad plays. There's no getting around it. It's a bad play. Although then you have this play, which, I mean, you got to give Hurts a lot of credit and A.J. Brown a lot of credit. Like, listen, they know that they're up, but they also know that this hasn't been their best game up until this point. That's just the reality of the situation. But you have A.J. Brown, who is, going to try and find a soft spot in zone coverage right here. As you see, it's a great route from A.J. Brown, and Hurts puts it right on the money, and they're able to convert. That was a 4th down and 4 right there. So this allows them to get in field goal range, kick another field goal. So, hey, banged up. Sometimes you need to make a play, and I mean, we give Mahomes all the credit for even when he has his bad days, he can make a play. Hurts did a good job making the play right here. And those 3 points ended up being really important down the stretch as they ended up winning by 6 and the Rams were in field goal range but had to go for it on 4th for trying to get the touchdown. So, yeah, crazy ending. Hey, a win is a win. They did enough here. You got to feel like they're going to have to be sharper next week. I said that last week, and they were a little bit sharper, I thought, offensively. Maybe just hand it off to Saquon Barkley every time. I don't know. Yeah, but crazy game. Hey, if you're an Eagles fan, enjoy it. Those are my thoughts on Hurts' performance. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.